All right. So, what else is annoying you in sports lately?
Uh Trying to remember what I had said before. I mean, Baker Mayfield, I don't care.
Yeah,
It's
Baker
like, where's he going to get traded to? I don't. I legitimately don't care.
Baker Mayfield is like it's the thing that just won't go away. It's like
Yeah,
we thought we were done with him, and it comes up all the time. Well, why isn't this team signed for Baker? Why doesn't he have a job yet? Why won't some team pick him up? What's going on? And now that the NFL is talking to Deshaun Watson like they might suspend him, it's like, oh well, Cleveland should keep him, because blah blah blah, and it's just like, first of all, it's
yeah,
it's inconsequential. Like, it really doesn't matter that much. And listen, I get it. These daily sports shows have to have content. I understand. Like, you've got to talk about something. So Jerry Jones came out and said the Cowboys are worth $10 billion. So we got to talk about that for 15 minutes. Why?
yeah,
It's so stupid. Baker doesn't have a job because nobody wants to pay him $18 million. That's the bottom line. He's not worth that. And most teams,
yeah,
he would be the backup anyway. Nobody's paying a backup to $18 million. That's why he doesn't have a
yeah,
job yet. This will all get
yeah. It's
worked
just bad timing.
right. This will all get worked out. It's not that big a deal. The other thing is, I don't believe the NFL is going to suspend Deshaun Watson until after the cases are over. Everybody's like, oh, well, Deshaun Watson's going to miss games. I keep hearing this like it's a foregone conclusion. I hear it from everybody. Mike Florio, Dan Patrick, Colin Cowherd. They're all, oh, he's definitely going to get suspended. The court cases aren't going to be until after the season's over. They're not even going to start until after the season's over. I don't think he's getting suspended. I don't trust the NFL to
I
do
mean,
the right thing ever.
they've made moves before, so I think there's a possibility it happens. But yeah, I don't. They haven't done anything yet, so I'm kind of like, what are they waiting for? Um, so yeah, we'll see. I mean, the other thing that I was just, the NFL schedule. I don't. I don't fucking care. The NFL schedule, and then doing these. Nick Wright on First Things First picked all the games next season, all of the games. And he's like going through who's going to win the division. Colin Cowherd's doing his herd hierarchy after the schedule release and after the draft, and it's just like, really, like I don't,
Yeah,
I understand. Like you can sort of look at it and kind of, I guess you can make some kind of judgments. Like if your team's has to go to London, like that sucks. But you kind of already knew that. You just didn't know the order of the games, like what order they were going to be and when you were going to play this team and that team. So yeah, I don't. And teams, sometimes there's injuries. Sometimes teams are better than you thought they would be, or worse than you thought they would be. So I don't really. It's really tough for me to make these, huge judgments. And then Nick Wright, of course, he's like, well, the Cowboys are going to win 12 games, and the 49ers are going to win 14 games. And he's like Trey Lance will be good, and then if he doesn't work out, they got Jimmy Garoppolo. And I'm just like, whoa, 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 whoa. They're going to win 14 games, mostly with Trey Lance, who hasn't played a meaningful snap really at all. Okay.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. This argument gets completely disproved every year. They all talk about, oh, the schedule. You can really predict a lot from the schedule.
Colin Cowherd said the Dolphins' schedule was really easy. They went 1-8.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, first of all, it's boring. It's just a dead topic. I don't care. There's a couple things. I think there's three things in sports that people seem to be interested in that I couldn't care less about: the NFL schedule, the Pro Bowl, and the home run derby. I don't know what's going on. People are so addicted to football. We're watching the frickin' Pro Bowl. Like, Jesus, why don't we just watch flag football in our backyard? It'd be just as much fun. I mean,
Yeah.
it's terrible. I don't know why people do it. So yeah, I think it's this idea that you can get all this knowledge from the schedule is complete nonsense. Now, I did hear something that I found interesting. This is something that gamblers look at, is how much rest time do you get between games versus other teams? right? Do you have like a game on a Thursday and then when is your bye? Do you have a game on Sunday night and then you have, so it's an interesting thing to look at, who has more rest time, but it's not necessarily predictive of anything anyway. So it's like and by the way, the way people look at how difficult the schedule is ridiculous anyway. They use last year's win-loss record. Like, that's just, first of all, football's a small sample size sport, no matter what you're looking at. So it's really hard to find things that or any statistic or trend that's predictive of anything. That's number one. And then, and even if you did the schedule by the over-under wins, that's a mess anyway. There's usually 2 or 3 teams in the playoffs that didn't make the playoffs the year before, and 2 or 3 teams are bad that we didn't expect to be bad.
Yeah.
So,
because of injuries or, whatever.
Yeah. So,
the other thing that I'm getting annoyed with is, and tell me that you remember this, okay? People seem to think that Thursday night football is a completely new thing as of the last, 15 years. Do you remember Thursday night games in the 90s? Because I do. TNT used to do Sunday night football, and then about halfway through the season, you would have Thursday night games.
Right. I don't know if it was in the 90s, but yes. Yeah. They've been doing it a long time.
Yeah. No, I'm honestly, I could look this up later. I'm almost positive that I remember in the 90s because we were both living at home at the time, I remember there would be Thursday night games. Maybe it wasn't every week, but it was because I think because for years ESPN was doing Sunday night football, but then TNT did it. I think what it was TNT did like the first half of the season Sunday night football, and then ESPN did the second half Sunday night football.
Right.
But TNT, I remember there being Thursday night games. I remember watching them. So, the idea that this is a totally new thing as of the last 10 or 15 years, no, they've been doing it, and not just on Thanksgiving. So I found that kind of funny. They've leaned way into it in the last 10 years, which I think is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is better, though. They're doing a better job getting better games on Thursday night. It used to be just really bad, and sometimes it still is because the teams aren't really rested enough. So it's, it's not really the best. It's not, I don't know. I know they want to just get on every single night they can, but it's just, to me, it's like, it's not really the best way to promote your product. And, but the NFL doesn't care. What difference, we talked about this, several times. It really doesn't make a difference. NFL doesn't care. They're going to make money regardless. Like it couldn't make any difference, to them, so yeah.
Well, but I think to me, the main thing is that, I don't like staying up for NFL games. And to me, the advantage the NFL has had over all these other sports is basically all their games are on one day and they're on in the afternoon, basically, which I always thought was a big advantage as opposed to like baseball. Their playoffs start at like 8:00 and it's like, well, you could be watching this game till 2 a.m. There's no idea. Who knows how long this game is going to go, whereas football, it's basically like, unless you're watching Monday Night Football, and even the Super Bowl is on, it's over at like, 9:30 or 10 o'clock. Right. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm really interested. I hope number one, I hope the Heat do well because the rest of our teams are not kicking it right now. I think the Panthers are down 3-0 to Tampa in hockey. And, the Marlins are usually terrible. And, so it's,
we don't need to get into the Dolphins.
Well, I did want to, listen, regardless of the Dolphins schedule, I'm doubling down on my prediction. I think the Dolphins are going to be good next year. I think they're going to make the playoffs. And I think, I think they'll make it because they have to. I think that, it goes back to they're just all in. They've put everything they can into this year. If they don't make the playoffs, it might be good for us if they don't make the playoffs. Like we were talking about this earlier, the main thing, the only thing, like this is where we are as fans. This is what happens when your team is incompetent for years and years and years. The only thing that I want to get out of this Dolphin season is we don't give Tua another contract. That's all I'm after. Yep. That's all I care about. Just do not give it. You want to pick up the 5th-year option? Go ahead. Just don't give him a new deal. That's all. Don't give him a contract extension. As long as you don't do that, I can live with it.
Yeah.
You know,
But yeah, I'm concerned that they're going to figure out a way to make the offense good enough and they can win enough games against. I mean, I'm trying to against like they can beat the Jet. The Jets aren't that good, so okay, you get the Jets, the Patriots. The Dolphins beat them twice last year, so maybe that's 3 or 4 wins right there between those two teams. And then who else do they play? They play the.
it's tough. They play the AFC North, so they play Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Baltimore, and then they play the NFC North, so they play Green Bay, Minnesota, Chicago, Detroit.
Well, Detroit, Chicago, even Green Bay, they don't have as much talent on offense. So, yeah, I could see a way that they could potentially get to 10 wins. If you get to 10 wins, there's 7 seeds in the playoffs, so you could potentially get there. But
yeah, like I said, it's not going to be easy, but I just think they'll figure something out, and they'll be good enough.
Yeah.
To get in. And then, everybody will, of course, that will cause everyone to go overboard. Oh, the Dolphins are for real, blah, blah, blah. Even though we'll be able to look at the numbers and see they're not for real. They'll get destroyed by some real quarterback in the playoffs. And, then we'll go into next season. We'll think the coach is a genius and, the GM will keep his job. And it's just like, and like you said, Nick Wright predicted the Dolphins to go 5-12. And it's like, we'll sign up for 5-12.
If only we could be so lucky.
Right. Yeah, exactly. If they just win 5 games, I will be thrilled because they'll fire the stupid GM and they'll realize, oh, yeah, I guess we should figure out the quarterback, which everybody on the planet seems to have figured out the quarterback's not legit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, all right. 2 things before we close this out. So One thing that I thought was cool was, if you followed, I don't really follow golf too much, but I'm on Facebook, I'm scrolling through, and there was a meme of John Daly, and it was showing him taking a swing, and it's like 21 cigarettes, 12 Diet Cokes, 6 packs of peanut M&Ms, 0.0 ounces of water. And then there was a picture of him after I guess it was after round 2, he went to Hooters, and he took some pictures with them, and then he was at a casino. He's got a bunch of money in one hand and he's playing a slot machine.
You know what? John Daly.
Then I read this. Apparently he was diagnosed with cancer or something a year or so ago or whatever. So at this point, I'm like, dude, smoke him if you got him. Like
John Daly. John Daly is living his best life. Meanwhile, Tiger Woods is choosing to limp around the PGA Championship and shoot 79. Like, I mean, at a certain point, like I know everybody. Listen. Nobody's going to want to hear this. This is where I can get a little mean. Everybody went crazy when Tiger played in that tournament with his son. And I'm like, yeah, I'll watch Netflix. Yeah. I mean, I like Tiger. It's fun, but if he's not going to be really good at golf, not interested.
Yeah, I'm out. Yeah.
Not interested. Phil Mickelson lost $40 million on gambling. Him I'm interested in. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I'm fascinated to see what happens with Phil. Tiger, everybody's in it. Like there's nowhere to go with Tiger. Everybody loves him. He can't really play very well anymore. The idea that, I mean, okay, it was great. He went out there at the Masters. Fantastic. Dude, give it up. Like, give it up. He's starting to look like Joe Namath playing on the Rams or something. Like, this is, dude, like, what are we doing here? So we'll see how that goes.